Hello viewers, welcome to the Voice America, the vicinity we lift you the most covered and up-to-date information. Two former insiders inform Rolling Stone that Trump's crew tried to flip a storm into a big payday, section of a sample of shady insurance plan practices that have caught regulation enforcement's attention. If you are new to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe and flip on the bell icon so you will now no longer be missing any of our closing update. For most businesses, a freak thunderstorm flooding your golf path would constitute something between an inconvenience and a disaster, in particular after you confronted accusations of illegally editing your route in a way that prompted water injury to your neighbors' buildings. But most organizations aren't run via Donald Trump. When a deluge flooded the Trump Organization's Westchester County golf path and a close-by city in 2011, the organization used a wildly inflated declare to rating an insurance plan payout of almost $1.3 million, pulling in a ways greater than what it spent to restore the course, two human beings inform Rolling Stone. The beforehand unreported insurance plan declare at Trump National Golf Club in the village of Briarcliff Manor a long way outstripped the value to restore the damages, which had been about $130,000 to $150,000, one of the sources says. One of the sources, a former Briarcliff employee, says superficial repairs have been made to the broken components of the course. The work was once in no way completed, the former worker says. They essentially band-aided it. The Trump Organization had sought even extra than the almost $1.3 million that used to be paid out. However, the insurer withheld a component due to the fact the Trump Organization failed to produce the required receipts, the different supply says. Both sources have direct expertise of the Trump Organization's operations and spoke on the circumstance of anonymity due to the fact they did now not favor to compromise ongoing investigations. Neither supply who spoke to Rolling Stone knew the title of the underlying insurer of the Briarcliff direction due to the fact all claims had been treated through a brokerage service. Ann and the Trump Organization each declined to title the underlying insurer. Questions round the declare should spell extra prison bother for a Trump Organization already eyeball deep in proceedings and investigations. The Westchester County District Attorney's workplace has opened a crook investigation into monetary dealings at Trump's Briarcliff Club. The New York Times, which first mentioned the investigation, stated it seems centered at least in phase on whether or not the Trump Organization misled neighborhood officers about the price of the property to decrease its taxes. The newspaper stated that the full scope of the inquiry may want to now not be determined. Jess Vacchiarelli, a spokeswoman for the district attorney's office, declined to comment. In the path of criminal wranglings over and strive to attain Trump's tax returns, a federal choose in 2019 referred to that the New York District Attorney's workplace and different regulation enforcement authorities in the country are investigating alleged insurance plan and financial institution fraud by means of the Trump Organization and its officers. A Trump employer representative, in an emailed statement, says the corporation was once not aware of any investigation into the Briarcliff declare or any other. Nor need to there be an investigation, the consultant wrote. The insurance plan declare at trouble used to be amicably resolved greater than a decade in the past following a collection of well-chronicled storms throughout Westchester County that dumped extra than 5 inches of rain on the village of Briarcliff Manor, inflicting full-size injury and flooding at the golf route and surrounding areas. The organization's alleged insurance plan shenanigans at Briarcliff might also provide an explanation for how the Trump Organization, 12 months over year, took in greater from insurance plan than it paid out in premiums. One of the sources stated the business enterprise would mechanically collect overinflated restore estimates, frequently from participants of Trump's clubs, that ought to be used to justify insurance plan claims. In a dialogue with top enterprise officials, the supply realized that the Trump Organization calculated that it received greater than $2 returned from insurers for each and every greenback it paid in, a return of greater than 100. Broadly, the supply says the employer considered insurance plan now not as an expense, however alternatively as an ongoing supply of profit. Even inside the Trump Organization's broader felony morass, the Briarcliff payout stands out. The corporation no longer solely made a hefty earnings off the flood. Per the two sources, it did so after a sequence of strikes that elevated the harm each to the Golf Inn and to its neighbors in accordance to a lawsuit. The village of Briarcliff Manor alleged that the Trump Organization improperly modified a collection of direction points that had been aimed at controlling flooding, breaking the policies for aesthetic reasons, an accusation the Trump Organization denied. After the storm, the village referred to the route over adjustments to grassy basins that had been designed to seize extra rainwater, however had been grew to become into ponds. Those ponds have been unhelpful when the June 23, 2011 storm dropped 5 inches of water on the course and the rain spilled over into a huge flood, in accordance to a lawsuit the village filed in 2014. In the lawsuit, the village of Briarcliff blamed these illegal and intentional modifications, alongside with the club's failure to keep the stormwater system, for flooding that brought on almost $250,000 in damage. The village, which lies at the foot of a hill beneath the course, noticed its activity Midland Historic Society, each positioned in the neighborhood library, broken with the aid of flooding, and the neighborhood swimming pool and athletic fields had been submerged under a number of inches of water. A geyser of water shot from a manhole cowl that popped off when the drainage machine used to be clogged with rocks and debris. The village demanded the Trump Organization pay for harm estimated at greater than $238,000. The failure of the Trump stormwater amenities to operate as designed used to be the sole direct reason of the village damage, the village claimed in its suit. The Trump Organization disagreed and disavowed any accountability for the flooding. Before the suit, Specialty Risk Services LLC, a third-party administrator, had denied the village of Briarcliff's insurance plan declared towards Trump's golf club, discovering that the flooding used to be due to an excessive 300-year event, in accordance to a letter acquired beneath New York's Freedom of Information law. In its subsequent lawsuit, the village maintained that the rainfall did now not exceed the quantity the course's stormwater device used to be designed to handle. Scott Blow, a former superintendent at Trump's golf course, instructed Rolling Stone that the membership used to be no longer to blame for the flooding, announcing the erosion had all befell in a ravine off the Gulf direction, and he was once unaware of any issues with the drainage basins. From what I understood, the whole lot was once working properly, Blow says. The Trump Organization eventually paid the town $50,000 to settle the lawsuit, but, below the phrases of the settlement, did now not admit any wrongdoing, in accordance to a replica of the contract acquired in a request made underneath New York's Freedom of Information law. The contract got here on July 12, 2016, a few days earlier than Trump usual the Republican nomination for president.